Hello. I see Karen and Sherry. Hello, Karen and
Hey,
Sherry.
y'all.
How are you? We're good. How are you? I told Brandy I was just watching live on Facebook, my favorite Yarny people, trying to win some prizes. They're having a New Year's party. Hi, Risa. I wasn't winning
Hello.
anything, though. I could have stood to win some of their yarn. They got beautiful yarn. I didn't win any.
You,
Anyhow.
you can never have too much yarn, right, Mindy? Just like you can't
No,
have, just like
no,
you can't have too many
you
diamond
cannot.
paints.
No, the diamond paintings, yarn, books. You can't have too many of those.
Exactly.
Hello, Catherine. How are you? How are you?
No.
So, Brandy and I chatted earlier, and we had a little moment of clarity or unclarity.
And
Like,
I went back and reread and found where I was like, oh, okay, that's why, because they mentioned both people.
yeah. So it was about the men in Michaela's life. Hi, Marion.
Hey,
Um,
Marion.
and Brandy thought that the man that she was talking about the whole time was her dad. And I was like, no, I think it's her first husband. But I think they talked about both. So
Yeah, because at the beginning, Rosa talks about uh, that she had contemplated contacting
whatever, yeah, whatever his
Brownlow, which
name
is her
was.
father.
Yeah.
She's like, he's not gonna do anything for his
No.
daughter.
For his
But
no, I
then
think
she
it was
said
for
that
his bastard child.
exactly.
That's what
But
it was.
then she started talking about when the other man, Michaela's ex, I
Yeah.
guess it ended so bad and she cut her hair and she was
Yeah.
pissed off. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, see, that part just went
Yeah.
out of my head.
And that the mom couldn't judge her too harshly on being so taken in by somebody that wasn't going to be there for her because she had done that
Yeah,
with her father, with this long affair that she had, the bad love, as she called it. Bad love. It was bad love.
that's right. Hey, Trina. Hey, Sue.
How are you guys? Yep. So bad love. But it's interesting because it seems that maybe her husband doesn't know about it.
Yeah,
Or,
I'm thinking not
yeah,
her. I mean, he, I think we wouldn't have that little synopsis if he knew, because
right.
obviously she's going to be in this for a while.
Yeah.
Although, y'all, for just the first little bit, I'll tell you, for just that first little bit, I thought we were going into a mystery book because the little boy is like sneaking around because he's real excited about something. He's putting on his Halloween costume, and I'm like, okay, something's fixing to happen. Something's fixing to happen. He saddles up the horse, and I'm like, so and oh, the jump wasn't where it was supposed to be. I was like, oh, are we having like a little mystery? But no, it was going along the lines it felt like it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
No. So I get the sense that the little boy, the boy has some struggles, has some issues. I'm not certain what, but I think he has some, I don't know, has some sort of learning disability, some issues, something. Brandy's going, huh? What?
I
What do
don't
you
know. I
say?
think it's just because he's young, but now
Mhm.
when he saw his mother, because she's been very protective of him, and it could be that he might have some small little developmental delays, maybe.
I think
But
there's something.
I think it also could just be that when you've got your youngest child, you tend to be a little bit more
No, because I think there was
protective.
things said several times, like he's sucking his thumb again, and then there was talk about how he has been doing so well at things, and now this is kind of regressing. And I'm thinking that's because there's something going on they've been working on developmentally, and he'd been getting better, and now this is a regression of all the work that they've been working on.
Yeah, but now I'll tell you. thumb sucking at 9 years old, I will tell you, I was a thumb sucker. And I
I think
sucked
it's
my
more than
thumb.
that, but
I sucked my thumb like all the way through elementary school. It was like a comfort thing. Um, but then, and my mom tried everything in the world. I mean, she would put, they used to have this really nasty oil that you could put on your thumb, so that when you put it in your mouth, it was very bitter and nasty. Um, Eventually, it got really nasty tasting, and I did eventually stop. But I think maybe that, yeah, you're right, that there's some sort of,
I
but I think
think
it's like a
there's something.
developmental delay. I don't think
Mhm.
it's a, I don't necessarily think it's a, like that he could be autistic. It could be
I'm kind of
part of it.
leaning that way. I'm kind of leaning that way. There's been a couple things said, a couple clues here and there that make me kind of think there's something like that going on, but I guess we'll find out as we learn more. And then the way that he had his meltdown in the hospital, and it even said he tried to keep it together for such a long time, and then he got mad and he cried and he had a fit and wrote all over the
Wrote on the
wall.
wall.
And yeah, so I'm pretty sure there's something with the little boy. I'm not certain what, but hi,
But
Sean.
now at the same time, it must, hey, Sean, it must be a very small, if it is autistic, it's a very small case, because most autistic kids that I know of, if they would have gone off and wrote on the wall, would not have easily have cleaned it up. They would have, because they wouldn't have seen that they were in the wrong anywhere, because they don't
I
understand that what
don't
they did was
know.
wrong.
I don't know. I've had some autistic kids that would be very agreeable to that after the fact, and yet would have had a hard time in the moment, the actual emotional moment where they had the meltdown, the breakdown, whatever they were doing, but then they could bounce back and be understanding afterwards. But I don't know.
I guess it kind of all depends on the level
Yes.
of autism, because
Yeah.
I know some of mine, they don't they don't understand like where they're wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in their head, everything was very logical.
Why
Even their,
was Michaela in the hospital room with Liam's dad? Huh?
oh yeah, that was kind of weird. Like, she met Liam because she was
Oh,
in
yeah.
his dad's hospital
Yeah.
room,
Like, was she
but
a
I don't
I
think
think
she was
she
a
maybe
nurse.
was she a therapist or something? Or she was there to help his dad in some way? Like, she was I'm thinking she was a therapist or something, or a social worker or something like that.
That could be very possible, because maybe, because we don't know anything about what her job is, because we just learned that she runs her horses through the paces early in the morning. So we don't necessarily know what her, she could be a nurse, she
Right.
could be a
Right.
therapist, she could be something. We just don't,
Right.
we don't know that part yet. We haven't gotten
Right.
to learn about what she
No.
was, other than a mother. And even if,
Marion says she was a nurse. Did you pick that up somewhere, Marion, that she was a nurse? And that could
is it a
be.
clue
I
I
mean,
missed?
it could be. And the fact that he's a doctor is interesting because they keep looking to him like, you can do something, fix it, do something. And the kids even said, you're a doctor or whatever, but it's out of his hands. There's nothing he can really do about it. But
And see, that's the hard part, because number one, when you're a doctor, I would imagine, your kids have gotten so used to you being um someone who, supposedly has this power, right? This like almost like a superpower. And so he should be able to jump in and he should be able to fix it. But I think what's harder for him is, because he is a doctor, he understands what those looks mean. He understands what those charts means, that sometimes you can do everything humanly possible and nothing is helping.
yeah.
And
Yes, she does a lot with animals, Karen, and she does take in a lot of animals and works with a lot of horses. So I'm thinking she's not somebody that has like a full-time job as a nurse or something like that. But my thought when you just said that is that maybe she has a service animal, and maybe she would go to the hospital, and maybe that's how she found the dad, is going in there with like one of her animals, maybe. I don't know.
Could be. Or could it be that you're right about the son, and because he has challenges, maybe she started staying at home and taking care of animals so that she could keep an eye on
Could be.
her son and
Could
and
be.
help take care of him and be there at the same time. Is that a
Yeah.
possibility?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anything's a possibility. Yeah. Guess we just got to keep reading to find out, right?
I have to say, it did draw me in pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I like the very descriptive words, like even that part where they were talking about when Rosa was talking about the condensation inside the house, made it look like inside, and she was like, "Look, Mom, it's raining inside," and
Yeah.
she's like, for
Yeah.
her, because it's kind of like her prison a little bit. She kind of felt like the house was crying for her, but like it was just so descriptive.
This is why she's such a popular writer and people read her stuff. It's because she's an excellent writer. She has a lot of analogies and metaphors and all kinds of stuff in her writing. So she's an excellent writer. I mean, yeah.
Hey, Lynn. Oh, I'm glad you didn't have an accident that was as bad as Michaela either, Karen.
Right? I know.
That would be bad. We wouldn't be talking to you.
Brandy and I, when we talked, first of all, she was confused a little bit. But when you were talking about that, you thought it was maybe going to be a mystery because something was done purposely, because you didn't understand the whole thing with the horses and the jumping. And
yeah, because I wasn't around horses, so I'm like, did someone move that? And that's what happened. What was that?
So being around horses and having ridden horses and been thrown off horses, I actually, I wasn't a big horse jumper, but my mom and I took a class through our community college, and it was a horse riding class. And we didn't know when we took it, we were going to be jumping, right? We're going to learn to do jumps, which was very interesting. So I was on this racehorse. He was a retired racehorse. And we were going over this jump, except as I was explaining to Brandy, stride is so important with jumping. Either the stride is too long or the stride is too short and something's just off and they don't go over the jump properly, or they don't get to the jump in the right, distance to jump it properly. Like Eminem was the horse I was riding, this racehorse, and we're cruising along, and he is a big horse. And he could have gone over the jump just perfectly, except he felt like where his last stride, his last step landed was either too close or too far away from the jump. And so he was like, nope, stop. And he stopped right there. Unfortunately, my momentum kept me going. And so I went right over the horse, right over the jump, and he's on the other side. Like, what are you doing? So that's kind of what happened to her. You're right. The little boy knew it. And that's another reason I think that maybe there might be some autism there with him or something, because he senses some other things that like she didn't sense, I don't know.
Yeah. And sometimes, with, I know with my own personal children, because, Chris, my oldest, does have is more autistic than Danny is, but and so Chris is like almost hyper aware of certain of little bitty details.
Yeah.
And yeah, because of science, you had inertia going, and inertia's like, nope.
See, Marion's like, yep, she's taken many falls going over jumps. How many times did you go over the jump without the horse, Marion?
And see, because I had never, I've ridden horses, but like only on trails, I don't think I've never even cantered. I tried doing whatever it is. Okay. So there's the walk, and then there's the trot. And I was too scared to keep going faster, because I thought I was bumping my head and my butt was sore just because and I'm like, if it's faster than that, I'm going to die.
No, the canter gets much smoother than the trots. The trots are the bumpy part.
I
So
was like, I just couldn't do it. And so I didn't know that, you know, that it wasn't necessarily that someone had purposely moved the jump, that the horse was just like, no, this isn't it, and will just stop itself.
yeah, a horse will just stop. If it's off, that stride's not right, it'll just be like, whoa, no, that's wrong. They'll refuse a jump if they're not in the right place before they get to the jump. If he's gone over it and he felt off kilter afterwards, yeah,
Because I think that's what happened to her, is that he went over
yeah,
because she
yeah,
was like, yeah, but then something obviously was wrong and he like just stopped.
yeah,
And she didn't.
yeah. Horses will do that. They'll do that. Oh, Risa was a jumper and
Oh,
fox hunter. See, I only did
wow.
that one class that involved jumping, and then I kind of realized right away I really didn't like it a whole lot. It wasn't my thing. So I didn't jump anymore after that. I think we took maybe 2 semesters of it, so we did it a couple times, but anyhow.
Yes, I think I had one moment. You know how they tell you if you fall off a horse, you gotta immediately get back up on it or else you won't. And I was at camp and we were horseback riding. We were on the trail and I didn't realize that. I guess because I was young, that things can spook horses,
Oh, yeah.
and spooked horses freak out. And so a snake had spooked my horse. And instead of following the trail that the horse very well, I mean, it was an older horse, it knew that trail. It knew where it was supposed to go with the horses in front of it, but it just took off running in another direction with me on the back. And I'm holding on for all I'm worth, and I'm hitting tree after tree until a tree just completely swipes me off the horse. The horse finally stops, and I'm telling you, it took the counselor like forever. I'm like, no, I'm not getting back up on that horse. It's lost its mind.
Mhm.
And they're like, if you do not get on that horse, you will never ride another horse a day in your life. And I'm
Well,
like,
I don't know that I agree with that necessarily, but
I got
I
back on,
mean,
but it was scary. And
yeah.
so and to this day, if I ride a horse, I'm like almost like hyper aware of the stuff on the ground around me. If I see another snake, I'm going to be like, oh God, it's going to freak.
Yeah. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But that's why I mean, she thought she was just out there doing her course like normal. What could be wrong, right? No, what could be wrong? I do this every day.
Yeah. And so she didn't quite notice
Mm-mm.
what, like I said, like her son had noticed.
But that was one
Um,
heck of a fall to do what it did. I mean, that was one
and with
heck
her
of
helmet on.
well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, a helmet can only do so much, but.
Well, yeah. I mean, um, and now we're assuming that she's going to be in this coma at
Yeah,
least long enough that her husband is going to find out about her first husband.
right.
Hey,
Correct.
Lori. I
Yep.
mean, because obviously there's some sort of digging. I'm just really hoping. I am hoping it's not because she dies and he goes through her stuff. I am
No, I don't think that's it.
like, part of me wonders, is she gonna wake up and have like a little bit of amnesia, and she thinks she's married to the other man, and is wondering who this other person
I don't
is?
know. I don't know. I
Wouldn't that be
don't
a
know.
little funky? Be like, wait a second, you're not my husband. No. I have a different husband. Who I don't know who the heck you are, but you
Where's
need
where's
to
where's Dan?
right. I'm like, so I don't know, because sometimes they wake up from a coma and they have amnesia. So
I don't know.
it'll
It'll
be
be
interesting to find
interesting.
out.
Yeah.
So I gotta know. It said 70 pages on my Kindle.
Yes.
How many was in your book?
70.
So it was the same amount. Okay,
Mhm.
that's interesting.
Yep, it was. It's exactly 70. So
Oh,
I
look
think
there.
that the Kindle pages and the book pages are pretty close.
That's right. Yay. And yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, Karen. If she didn't have that helmet, she'd be dead.
Right.
Well, hello, Dipping Time, Rhonda. How are you? I love
A
seeing
dip,
new people
a
in
dip
here.
in time.
I like that name too.
Yep. All
So
right.
I
Well,
think we're gonna.
look, you make me actually go back and look and reread pages and mark them, and I'm reading, and I'm like, no, this is where she's talking about her husband, the affair,
Yeah,
the this,
I
the
went. I
that.
went back to where they first talk about Rosa, and I'm like, okay, so the first part she's talking about is Michaela's father, and that sin or
Yeah.
whatever because he was married, and then they started, and then that's when I was like, oh, that's what I missed when she was talking about obviously Michaela's horrible choice in men love
It
sin.
did, Lynn. Yeah, she hit a post, something on the side of the arena or something. She smacked her head on it. Yeah, and it was depressing, right? I mean, here's this kid and he's all excited because he's just found out he's going to be able to go to this overnight riding thing that they
Yep.
do. So, and then he finds out, he's watching his mom and he thinks his mom is completely dead laying there, except her
And he
eyes was
keeps mentioning
open.
that. He's like, she's dead, she's dead, and his father's like, no,
No.
she's not. And he's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
and you gotta wonder, especially if there is something, if there is something developmentally wrong
Yeah.
with the boy, that this is going to stay with him. This poor kid. This is going to be a event, regardless of how she comes out of this. That's why I'm kind of worried. Like, I worry how this is going to, affect the child,
Well,
affect the boy.
it's gonna affect both of the kids no matter what. I mean,
Yeah, the girl's older. She's.
yeah, it's still it's a big thing. It's gonna have an impact on both of them no matter what, but
I mean, the poor thing. He didn't even want to give his father night kisses or let his father do daddy kisses because he always has mommy kisses, and that
yeah.
just like, oh, as a mom, I like had little. Oh, I
But
was like,
his
oh,
dad's very understanding of it all. He gets it, and
he's a really good guy. I mean, from what I can see, he truly loves her and the kids, and like, I'm just really hoping that everything will eventually turn out okay. Um, it's kind of interesting how this book is broken up into like parts, like part one, part two, part three
yeah,
kind of thing.
I don't know where the next like section is. Oh man, it just started raining here. Oh, you know what? The
Bottom
next
dropped out here earlier.
Hang on, let me see something. Um, 73. I'm calculating here. Hang on.
Because like another 70
73 and
pages would be
70.
140 or one around the 140-ish.
Yeah. But the
140, 150.
this section ends at 160.
So that would be 90 pages.
And I was gonna have us stop at 147. Okay, there's also like blank pages, like in between the chapters. Sometimes there's a blank page there, so it's not really as many pages to read. Do you want to go to the end of section two? It's
I
just,
would be all for it. What do you guys think? What chapter is
it's
that?
just a little bit longer. It's through chapter 11. Yeah, it's through chapter 11. So I was either going to stop before chapter 11, which was my original plan, but then chapter 11 ends part 2, and chapter 11 is only 11 pages.
Yeah, I personally would like to go ahead and end the
Go to
section
go to section 2.
because I have a feeling like with that last chapter is going to have like most of your like I don't know, finalization of certain parts, I think. So Summers has finished part 2. What
Yeah.
about the rest of you
I
guys?
think finishing part 2 would be good. It's not that much more. And this went really fast. If you
It
look at
did.
it, if you look at the words in the book, I think that the font is even a little larger maybe. it
I mean,
just
it took me 45 minutes last night to read it. So
I could not read it in 45 minutes. I could not have read those 5 chapters in 45 minutes. There's no way. But I think we can read all of section 2. I think that's very doable.
yeah, it looks like everybody's saying finished part 2 in section 2. Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to take out one of my little notes here where I had it marked, where I was going back to research. Not that I'll forget.
Since I had a brain fart as far as like, oh, because for some reason my brain stuck on the father.
Yeah. And I'm
like I wonder because they gave us his name.
I think they're talking about
they gave us his name. And since they gave us his name, does that mean he's going to show up later on in the book too?
The dad?
Yeah. Otherwise, why give his name?
I don't know.
Oh, Lynn. What are we going to do with you, Lynn?
Oh my goodness, Lynn.
That means you're going to have to be real careful, Lynn. No.
Lynn. You know, I think I'm looking through the book here. And I'm thinking we just do a section at a time. Let's see.
Yep.
Part 3 is a little
went further too.
Part 3 is a little shorter. Let's see what I think about part 4. Part 4. I'm just scrolling through here.
Sean, you'll be able to catch up pretty easy because it reads very fast.
Where's part 5? Part 4 is really long. Maybe there's only a part 4. Maybe there is no part 5.
Yeah, I think it's broken up into 4 parts.
Okay, then part 4 is really long. We'll have to break up. We can do section 2, section 3, and then part 4 we'll have to split into 2.
Okay.
Sound okay?
Sounds fine to me.
Yeah. The next 2 sections are pretty easy to read through. But then I think we'll split up the last section. Oh, you knew it was 4 parts. Wow. Why didn't you tell me that?
I did. Remember when we were first talking before you got the book? Yeah, I said, look, it's in 4 parts. Part 1 ends with 70 pages. And I'm wondering about the other. And you said, oh, that'll be interesting. Once I get the book, I'll look. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, now you know.
But yeah, I guess I am.
See if your section 2 ends on page 160 when you're done.
I will. I'll look. But it took me because after 15 minutes, I'd already read the first 2 chapters. And then I was hooked, and I was like, okay, just a little bit longer. And then before I knew it, I was like, well, dang, it's okay. I'm done. And I was like, I guess.
Look at Marion's going to travel again. She's off on the road again, going somewhere. Going to listen to it.
I know where Marion is going.
How do you know where Marion
is? She sent me an email. Marion, I sent you an answer to the email. You need to go read the email.
Did Marion win something?
No. I know she's traveling.
Oh, okay. Well, you keeping secrets, girls, from me?
Oh, wait a second. It's a male person reading the Audible?
I don't know. I don't have it.
Well, maybe it's a male because it's from the husband's
point of view, kind of.
Maybe.
It's really nice.
Oh, you did read it. You just didn't respond. Okay. Well, let me know. Oh, now I feel silly. Okay.
Like, oh, let me go look now.
Yeah, I think it's because it's from the husband's point of view and the son. Because the first part was the son, right?
Well, it can't be her talking.
No, it can't. Yep. My first day back at school was actually pretty good.
Keep secrets.
We don't keep secrets. But no, I didn't have any kids today, and I won't have any kids tomorrow. I stayed in my classroom, forgot to go to lunch because I was trying to get some final grading done, and I did what Mindy suggested. So I was like, oh, they answered. I didn't even read the questions, but yep, they answered it. Boom, boom. And then there's a stack that I just went boop, in the trash.
Yep.
Because they won't need it. They won't.
I would throw things in the trash all the time. All the time.
I know. I by the time I looked up, it was already time to leave. And I was like, oh, wait, I forgot to eat lunch.
Yeah.
Oh. And I was expecting to be tired. I really was. I was expecting to do that whole, like, as I'm grading kind of thing and like try to, but no, I was in the zone. I got 2 out of my 6 classes. All the grades are in for those 2 classes, and I'll be able to wrap up the last 4, hopefully in the morning. And then as long as it's in service, I don't know what all they got planned for us. So that's the
character voices are creepy.
Oh
no.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
Well, at least he's trying to do some character voices.
Right.
You could have a Ben Stein kind of Bueller.
I just get Ms. A out there who'll be reading along something, and all of a sudden she's like, no, and she's like all angry, and I'm like, what just happened? Why are we reading that angrily?
Your lady who we can't say her name because then she starts talking, gets all angry with you.
We just call her Ms. A anymore. Ms. A.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Yeah. And I've never had either, so although I'm almost tempted, not on this book, but I'm almost tempted on one of my other books, trying out the free. I'm just scared if I say I want the free Audible, that they're going to automatically sign me up for paying when I don't know yet that I like it.
Well, they would probably, here's my take. Most things like that, when you sign up for something, you sign up, you give them a credit card so that when your free subscription is done, they go right ahead and they charge you for the pay part and keep you going. Right?
Yeah. When you transition between POVs, yeah, it's kind of like, wait, hold on. We were this person, now we're this person. See, and that's where it would freak me out. With reading, the transition is easy. Yeah. But I can imagine if someone's talking, it's got to be like a little like, whoa, what the heck?
Yeah. And that happens with Ms. A too, because, she'll be reading along and she's reading what somebody's saying. And then she'll say something else. She'll say like their thoughts, and it's hard. Sometimes you're like, wait, did somebody say that? Who said that? Somebody, you get kind of confused between speech and thought sometimes because you can't see those quotation marks and you don't know what's going on. But
I know, because at least when I'm reading, if it's thoughts, it's in italics, in italics. And I can be like, okay, that's thoughts, but yeah, it's not like the Audible is going to say.
So see, they say it's easy to cancel the subscription if you sign up, and it's easy to cancel it if you wanted to.
Okay. I mean, because I'm an Amazon Prime.
It's not like a timeshare. Try to get rid of those
timeshare company for a small amount. I work for a timeshare company for a small amount, and let me just tell you,
That's true. You cannot I would never read a book and Diamond Paint at the same time. Yes, but you can listen.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. I always take at least probably 4 to 5 times a night. I take about 10 minutes.
Okay.
4 to 5 times a night to read.
Dip in time. We don't know anything about her talking in her coma.
But remember, on her way, when she was on the gurney, there was her thoughts right there. Remember in that first chapter, after
she had thoughts, but she said when the main character is speaking in her coma. We haven't heard her speak in her coma, have we?
No.
I think so.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. See, now that gives me hope. It gives me hope that we're going to have her speaking in a coma.
Oh. Okay. Well, anyhow. All right. I will let you guys go and talk at you later. Read section 2, and we'll see what happens in section 2. Lynn, who already knows,
Yeah, don't tell us, Lynn. Don't tell
and
us.
Rhonda, who might know a little more than we know. I don't know.
I'm interested. I'm interested. I can't wait to see. I mean, I think we're gonna get to some secrets.
Yes, I think so. All
Oh,
right.
look at Lynn. Look at Lynn. At least it wasn't me that gave that info.
Lynn just sits here and she's like, hmm. She doesn't say much because she knows she doesn't want to give nothing away. Oh, Brenda's been hanging out. Look. Hey, Brenda.
Well, hey,
Now
Brenda.
she's saying goodbye.
Oh,
Who is
thank you,
here?
Summer. My laugh is it's unique. I don't know how else to describe it. Like I gotta say this before we go. Mindy, do you realize when we were at the and actually it was Lynn that did it. It was Lynn that did it. Kara and I were in the hallway at the retreat and we had just put our stuff in the room.
Okay.
And we were walking down the hallway, and I don't remember what something happened, and I was laughing. And Lynn, and this is before I knew it, who Lynn was yet. She was like, "Wait a second, I recognize that laugh, Mystery at Diamonds." I went, "Wait, you can tell it was me through my laugh." I was like,
She's
"Oh
like,
my god,
yep. Mhm.
you remember that, Lynn? I loved
She's
it."
like, it's how I got here. I just followed the laugh.
Well, it makes me feel good that people don't think I have one of those creepy, because there are some people I know with some creepy laughs. Oh Lord, someone started laughing at our school, our new science teacher, and it was one of those laughs that you're just kind of like,
Whoa.
because it was a little strange. It was a little strange. It sounded a little sinister, and I was like, oh.
All right then. Okay. Well, I will let you go and we will talk later. Have a good week, everybody, and happy reading as I choke.
Don't choke, Mindy.
Right?
No,
Okay.
you've already burnt your finger. Don't
I know,
choke.
I did. My thumb is still sore too. It is sore. But anyhow.
Lord, woman.
Anyhow. All right. Talk to you later, everybody.
All right, bye, y'all.